So after finishing Marvel Zombies, I had some feelings that, like how I felt after watching Ironheart, where I was excited for more, but I was disappointed by the stuff we did get. So overall today, I'm just going to be talking about the series, talking about what I liked, what I didn't, so let's go. So context on why I feel betrayed is because when it was announced, I was really excited, following up on one of my more favorite episodes from Marvel What If. I can't wait. Then as the years got on, more Marvel projects came out, I got more disappointed and feeling more like the show just shouldn't come out at this point, especially as more What If episodes came out. But when the trailer came out, I was really excited. I went, oh, so they are going to lean into the more gory sides of it. They are going to really try making a zombie apocalypse story. But then the episodes came out and, well, you'll just see how I feel about it coming up. So starting off with the characters, so I chose Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, Blade, and Valkyrie. So starting off with probably the biggest miss of the characters is Valkyrie, because she just felt like she didn't leave Thor Love and Thunder with the constant jokes, and I wasn't expecting much from her, but I was hoping for something a bit more closer to Endgame, where she was a reluctant leader whilst Asgard's real leader is unavailable. So when she was introduced in the series, she became one of the more annoying characters to me. Going to Moon Knight / Blade, who was in the trailer setting up to be the main character in the series. Now, for the story that they were telling, Miss Marvel was a good option, but doesn't make me want something else sometimes. And with him getting evaporated at the end of the series, that's the last we'll see of Blade until his movie comes out in, 2040? The action of Blade was the best part, though, of the whole series in action, and getting me excited for the eventual Blade film. Onto Shang-Chi, who I just bring up for the sole fact that his ring stopped him from turning zombie, and honestly, it was one of my favorite things to see in the whole series. It creeped me out, especially whenever someone's hand grabbed his, and honestly, it just kind of was exciting to see the rings be put into good use. The story that he was in was minimal, but this was something that got me excited to see more of Shang-Chi in the next Avengers film. He should have had a second filmed already, but anyways. And when we got into the Shang-Chi prologue at the start of the episode 2, I really liked that they ran into Jimmy Woo, because it's something that I never connected that Shang-Chi would have been around the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now onto the main character, Miss Marvel. So she was a good character to choose, but I felt like they combined the Ironheart What If episode and the Ironheart series for her, and I feel like that they should have just swapped her out with Kate Bishop. But I did really enjoy the dynamic between her, Riri, and Kate in the beginning part of episode 1, and it just really shows how much we need a Young Avengers film at the moment. On with why she should have just been swapped out with Kate, because multiple times Kamala was told in the show she was inspiring people. She was inspiring people to fight, to go find a cure, whereas she wasn't even, when she was with Kate and Riri wanting to go out, she was fine with staying at Kate's mum's house. It felt like more Kate was wanting to find a cure and this apocalypse and get things back to normal. And Kamala just felt like a character who was a side character to the rest of the team. She was just getting pushed forward by the events that were happening around her, and nothing that she was doing to push people forward, because it was Blade that picked her up. From what I understand, it wasn't even her idea to go find a jet. The only thing that she really chose was to help zombie Scarlet Witch in the end of the series. Now, that's no hate to Amana Vellani. I really liked her in Miss Marvel and the Marvels. She was honestly the best part of those, but I feel like she was put into this show because she was well received in those shows, which probably isn't totally different from why she was put in there. She was probably put in here because she was a new character and they were trying to push these new characters, especially at this time. So onto something else that they should have changed was the animation style, which was very hard for me to see who was who being one of the most hard examples to find out who he was John Walker, because he was honestly just shown with blonde hair. I had no idea who he was until I watched the breakdowns, but it doesn't matter because he's dead. But I just feel like the show would have been better, but more unique animation style. Now, it was a whole lot more easier for me to understand who was who in this show. I feel like the animation style was a bit better than the later episodes of What If. And the voice cast, I should have just gone real voice actors, because not all the time, but in some scenes it was very noticeable when they had actors as the voice actors, and I feel like the MCU you should just really get voice actors to portray these characters. But the rest of the show was pretty good. Zombie apocalypse stories, the best thing about the series was when they focused on that. Something I thought they were going to hold back on, especially when announcing the show, were the death. When announcing they were just going to show the zombies, that as time went on, we were just never going to get a full-on zombie apocalypse story, and it was just going to be a group of heroes fighting off zombies. But they did not hold back, and the only character to really survive the whole series was Miss Marvel and Riri. I feel that some of the twists, like the Nova Corps, I basically knew that the Nova Corps would refuse to help them, but some things were amazingly cool when, like, the Cap vs Red Guardian fight, thinking that Cap was in the vents above him to come down below. It was a real fun twist, and something that kind of shocked me when seeing it was when the Red Guardians eating zombie flesh, zombie eyeballs, zombies, everything in that banquet was something that I had no idea that was coming, and something that really freaked me out when seeing it, especially how mind manipulating this would have been from Zombie Wanda to basically not even wait till the Asgardians were fully turned into zombies. She showed them as they were turning into zombies. Something I hear more and more people saying is how this should have just been a made-for-TV movie, and you know what, I'm not totally disagreeing with it, but I think it would have been better suited as a special presentation, because we need more of those, and this would have been just a perfect project to make a special presentation out of. Something that I thought was massively cool, and something I have never seen before, was a Mad Max with zombie apocalypse, and honestly it would have been something I would have preferred to see more of. Spider-Man part where we see him, Scott Lang's head, and Black Panther fight Thanos felt like something that they just had to put in there because it was set up by the story, but when it came time to write the spin-off, they didn't really want to keep up with it, which is something I'm not holding against the writers. This was a good story, but it felt like the episode beforehand was so much more of a burden on the writers and something that they could have just pushed off of, because they didn't use Zombie Hunter, Spider-Man, or Scott Lang's head until episode 3, and they only really got about 20, maybe even 10 minutes of story time. So something I think that would have just been easier is to stop connecting it to the What If episode and just make it its own thing. Something that I think would have been better to be set up earlier on is the Zombie Wanda mind controlling, because that would have given it much more of stakes coming into it. Now, zombie apocalypse stories do have stakes, but it didn't feel like we had all that much stakes apart from the zombies coming in every now and again in the first 2 episodes. That's overall just what I thought of the series. Thank you for watching, and now if you disagree with me, you can put your comments in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.